In the beginning, there was darkness, and there was Raven. And in the early morning dawn of that world, Raven found light, and he cast it across the land and through the sky. And upon seeing the emptiness there, he decided to create for himself a beautiful place that he could live in. And so first, he started small, tiny pinpricks of light in the night sky for stars. Tiny grains of sand, seeds that he cast across that land full of magic and promise. And then he grew more bold. He decided to create a giant orb of light that could hang heavy in the night sky, waxing and waning with the seasons, and a great expanse of sea that would dance in the rhythm of that moon back and forth daily. He created the open plains, mountains that he could soar over, giant cedar trees that he could rest in. He created the high places, the low places, the warm places, and the cold places. He created places where the weather would change so quickly from warm sun to cold rain, you wouldn't know how to prepare. And he also created creatures that could inhabit each of these places. And when he was done, he looked around and he said, "Not bad." Raven was proud of his work, and he moved through it boldly, sometimes in the form of the raven, but other times he would take off his raven head and his raven wings, and he would stride about it in the form of a man, with broad shoulders and bright shining eyes, and a long dark braid down his back. He would wander. And he would speak to the creatures, and he would get to know these corners, these far reaches. For yes, he created this world, but there was much that he had to learn about it. And so he would rove and wander, which is how he found himself one night, sleeping beneath the waxing moon. And in his sleep he had a dream. And in that dream he heard the voice of a woman. And when he awoke, he felt the pull of that voice northwards, north to the ice and to the snow. And so he carved for himself a canoe and a paddle. And he set off across that silent sea, the only sound that could be heard, the cutting of the bow through the water, and the dip, dip, swing, dip, dip, swing of the paddle through that cold, icy sea. And the sound of the voice of that woman on the wind whispering and pulling to him. Until all of a sudden, a great whale breached the water, towering over him and casting a shadow across his boat and then knocking him from it and in to its mouth. Raven looked around. The tiny columns of white shining teeth around him, the tangy smell of sea bream and krill on the air, the dark cavern, bluish ivory light. And the voice was louder. And so into the dark hall of its mouth he went, following it into the darkness, the towering white columns of its rib cage over him. He went back into the farthest reaches, into the shadows, and he saw the form of a woman. And as he got closer, he noticed that attached to her every joint were strings of sinew and muscle tying her in to the heart of the whale. She moved slowly, dancing and singing. Ah.